Hello and welcome to Indus News live from Islamabad. I am Muneeb Hamid with the news of this hour. Let's begin with headlines first. Kabul says it has killed 71 Taliban fighters in a counter-attack operation in Afghanistan's southern Helmand province. The Interior Ministry said the operation was launched in response to the Taliban attacks in Nawar and Nahri Sarwaj districts. Meanwhile, the Taliban claimed they have overrun a key checkpost in Nangarhar province, killing 17 government soldiers. Indian troops have martyred 2 more civilians in occupied Kashmir, raising the toll to 8 in the last 3 days. The occupying troops targeted the youth during a cordon and search operation in the Srinagar district. The occupied valley has been under New Delhi's crushing curfew and communications blackout for the past 435 days. Turkey has asked Russia to press Armenia to abide by the ceasefire terms in NAGORNO-KARABAKH. In a statement, Turkey's foreign ministry strongly condemned Armenian missile attack on civilians in Azeri city, Ganja. Azerbaijan's defense ministry says 9 people have been killed and 41 others wounded in Armenian bombing in Ganja city. Tajikistan's President Emomali Rahmon has been re-elected for a 5th term. Electoral Commission said the leader secured nearly 91% of the votes in Sunday's election. Russian ally Rahmon has been in power since 1992. India has reported the world's highest 816 COVID-19 deaths and nearly 67,000 infections overnight. India's death toll has topped 109,000 with caseload crossing 7.12 million. Here in Pakistan, 10 more people have lost their lives to the virus, raising the death count to 6,580. Globally, the coronavirus has claimed over 1,075,000 lives and infected more than 37 million. And in the National Basketball Association finals, the Los Angeles Lakers beat Miami Heat by 106 to 93 points to capture a record-tying 17th NBA championship. The Lakers sealed the best-of-7 title series 4-2 thanks to a triple-double by MVP LeBron James. News in detail coming up after a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now let's start the news in detail. Kabul says it has killed 71 Taliban fighters in a counter-attack operation in Afghanistan's southern Helmand province. The Interior Ministry said the operation was launched in response to the Taliban attacks in Nawar and Nahri Sarwaj districts. Clashes between Afghan security forces and the Taliban have intensified in the province over the weekend. Earlier, the Taliban denied capturing of their deputy governor after local media said he was arrested in a raid. Meanwhile, the Taliban claimed they have overrun a key checkpost in Nangarhar province, killing 17 government soldiers. Spokesperson Zabihullah said 5 other soldiers were wounded, while 4 armored personnel carriers were destroyed in the attack. Now, U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Mark Milley says the American troops' withdrawal from Afghanistan remains conditional. Milley says the Pentagon has a series of options that have been communicated to the U.S. President. In an interview, he said the Doha deal clearly mentions a conditions-based withdrawal from Afghanistan. He added the U.S. is trying to end the war responsibly and deliberately. He said, but it will do so on terms that guarantee the safety of the U.S. national security interests. He stated the number of American troops has already been reduced and will be brought to 4,500 very shortly. Earlier this month, President Donald Trump called for a total withdrawal before mid-December. Now, Indian troops have martyred 2 more civilians in occupied Kashmir, raising the toll to 8 in the last 3 days. The occupying troops targeted the youths during a cordon and search operation in the Srinagar district. The operation was going on till last reports came in. The killing of the youths triggered anti-India protests in the Rambagh area of Srinagar. Meanwhile, Pakistan has strongly condemned unabated Indian state terrorism and extrajudicial killings in the valley. In a statement, the Foreign Office said Indian forces target innocent civilians in fake encounters. It called upon the international community to take full cognizance of the aggravating situation in the occupied valley. Occupied Kashmir has been under New Delhi's crashing curfew and communications blackout for the past 435 days. Moving on, Turkey has asked Russia to press Armenia to abide by the ceasefire terms in Nagorno-Karabakh. This comes after Azerbaijan accused Armenia of importing Russian missiles on passenger aircraft under the garb of humanitarian aid. In a statement, Turkey's foreign ministry strongly condemned Armenian missile attack on civilians in Azeri city, Ganja. Azerbaijan's defense ministry said 9 people were killed and 41 others wounded in Armenian bombing in Ganja. Meanwhile, the European Union has expressed deep concern over reports of violations of the ceasefire. In a statement, Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell said European Union member states should engage in substantive negotiations without delay. Over 400 people have died and thousands displaced since the fighting in the disputed region started nearly 2 weeks ago. Now, Iran has criticized the International Atomic Energy Agency chief's remarks on Tehran's nuclear activities. Iran's representative in Vienna, Kazim Gharibabadi, said Rafael Mariano Grosso's remarks are self-drawn. He said criticism over producing a significant quantity of enriched uranium is irrelevant to IAEA's mandate. Gharibabadi also expressed concern over 1,300 tons of highly enriched uranium and 300 tons of plutonium worldwide. Earlier, Grossi said Iran continues its nuclear enrichment activities more than what it committed. Now, Greece says Turkey's move to carry out seismic surveys in the eastern Mediterranean is a major escalation of tensions. The Greek Foreign Ministry says Athens calls on Ankara to reverse its decision. This comes after Ankara directed its ship Oruk race to carry out seismic surveys near the Castor-Lorizo island for the next 10 days. Maritime Notice says 2 other vessels will also continue work in the area. Last month, Ankara withdrew Oruk race from contested waters to allow diplomacy ahead of a European Union summit. The 2 countries have conflicting claims over hydrocarbon resources in the eastern Mediterranean region. Now, India has reported the world's highest 816 COVID-19 deaths and nearly 67,000 infections overnight. India's death toll has topped 109,000 with the caseload crossing 7.12 million. While globally, the coronavirus has claimed over 1,075,000 lives and infected more than 37 million. More details in this report.
The COVID-19 disease continues to spread with its second wave on the rise in many parts of the world. Europe has overtaken the US, India and Brazil in daily new cases. Italy is considering new restrictions nationwide as infections climb. France is facing another challenge as a study shows over half of its nurses are close to burning out amid surging workload. Adding to the hysteria, new Australian research has shown that the virus can survive up to nearly a month on glass surfaces.
Another important factor is that we still don't know what an infectious dose is. So even though we were able to recover infectious virus up to 28 days, that may not be enough to actually cause an infection. But I think the key message really is to wash hands where possible and sanitize your hands with an alcohol-based disinfectant often.
South Korea's new cases tally has jumped again just as the officials eased social distancing restrictions in the country. China's Qingdao city has announced plans to test each of its 9 million residents after recent escalation of cases. Meanwhile, country's active move to join COVAX has been broadly welcomed by many international bodies.
China is stepping forward. It is an exercise in global leadership, and it is very much welcome. And I hope it signals to other countries that the opportunity to join in such a global partnership is there.
Latin America's confirmed COVID-19 cases have exceeded 10 million, with Brazil continuing to be the hardest hit in the region.
Meanwhile, in Pakistan, 10 more people have lost their lives to COVID-19 during the last 24 hours, raising the death toll to 6,580. The Health Ministry said 385 people tested positive overnight. The ministry added there are 8,552 active COVID-19 cases in the country. It said out of over 319,000 countrywide cases, more than 304,000 have recovered so far. The ministry said over 140,000 cases have been detected in the Sindh province so far, while Punjab has reported more than 100,000 cases. Moving on, US President Donald Trump says he is ready to travel and campaign after recovering and testing negative for COVID-19. Trump said he will not be a transmission risk to others. In an interview, Trump said he passed the highest test and is in great shape. The president said he is no longer on medications for the coronavirus. Taking a jibe at Joe Biden, Trump said he no longer needs to hide in the basement like his opponents. After making a claim in the interview in a tweet, the president again said he is now immune to the disease. The social media platform flagged the tweet, saying Trump's claim violated the rules. The warning label indicates the tweet had misleading or potentially harmful information related to COVID-19. Now, in Tajikistan, President Emomali Rahmon has been re-elected for a fifth term after securing 90.92% of the votes. Opposition Social Democratic Party boycotted the polls over laws it says ensure re-election of President Emomali Rahmon. Constitutional changes passed in 2016 allowed Rahmon to run for office an unlimited number of times. All four competitors were viewed as token opponents and have avoided criticizing Rahmon. Russian allied Rahmon has been running the Tajik nation of 9.5 million people since 1992. Now, Northern Cyprus President and Prime Minister will go to a runoff next week after each won about 30% support in Sunday's presidential polls. The Election Council said Prime Minister Ersin Tatar won 32.5% of the votes, with results counted from 723 out of 738 stations. It said incumbent Mustafa Akinci secured almost 30% in a field of 11 candidates. Akinci supports reuniting the Mediterranean island, while Tatar backed separate sovereign administrations. Cyprus was split in two after 1974 Turkish invasion in response to a brief Greek-inspired coup. Turkey recognizes the Turkish Cypriot state in the north, but not the internationally recognized Greek Cypriot government. The latest UN-mediated peace negotiations failed in 2017, and there has been no progress in talks ever since. Meanwhile, the UN has welcomed Libya's National Oil Corporation's decision to resume production at the country's largest field. In a tweet, UN Libya mission says the development is a result of the improved security situation in the Sharara oil field. It said the unimpeded exploitation of Libya's oil resources and effective management of the revenues is a shared national interest. The mission stated the decision reflects the constructive atmosphere created for intra-Libyan military and political talks. The UN will hold face-to-face talks between delegations of the 5+5 Joint Military Commission in Geneva beginning on the 19th of October. Earlier, the NOC said it has reached an honour agreement with forces loyal to Khalifa Haftar to end all obstruction at the oil field. Now it's time for a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, in France, nearly 40 unidentified people have tried to storm a police station in the Paris suburbs. Police posted the video showing assailants armed with metal bars and fireworks trying to forcefully enter the station. The motive for the attack is not yet clear, and nobody has been arrested. The police station is located in an area known for drug trafficking. Since the end of a lockdown, a spat of criminal incidents across the country has put the government on heightened alert. Now moving to Vietnam, where 18 people died in floods in Vietnam's central provinces over the past week. State media says 14 people remain missing while the country braces for another tropical storm. It said Typhoon Linfa may batter the central region in the next few days, bringing more rain and flooding. A government report said floods have cut food supplies to thousands of people. Following the floods, nearly 31,000 people have been displaced and more than 33,000 houses submerged. Vietnam is prone to destructive storms and flooding due to its long coastline. Now, 11 African migrants have died when their boat sank off Tunisia in the Mediterranean. The boat was en route to the Italian island of Lampedusa. The Tunisian Coast Guard says it has rescued 7 people and is searching for the other missing people. Rescuers said they have recorded the bodies of 8 women and 3 children off the coast near Sfax city. They said some 30 people had set out on the boat aiming to reach Italy. Last year, about 90 African migrants drowned after their boat capsized en route to Europe from Libya. Meanwhile, a total of 390 illegal migrants have been rescued off the Libyan coast over the last 2 days. The International Organization for Migration said migrants, including women and children, have returned to Libya. The agency said its teams are present at the disembarkation points on the coast to provide emergency assistance in such events. Earlier, the agency said in 2020 it rescued over 9,000 illegal migrants. The organization also said 196 migrants died and 275 others went missing on the central Mediterranean route this year. Now, Paris Fashion Week has completed with collections exuding hope amid the coronavirus pandemic. Designer Stella's new collection was presented digitally with faith that lockdowns will one day be a thing of the past. More about her collection in this report.
Hues of peach, pink and blue painted Stella McCartney's new collection, presented digitally as part of Paris Fashion Week. The designer's new collection did not shy away from lockdown looks. Flip-flops featured exaggerated soles, leggings and jumpsuits, a balance of fashion and comfort.
I definitely think there has to be optimism. I think people still have got to get dressed up. Jesus Christ, even if they're just at home or like, you've got to come out of this not just wearing sweatpants. And we will all come out of this. I'm already saying to my team, okay, where's the celebration collection?
Having the time during lockdown to explore fashion history, McCartney used contemporary classicism. He borrowed silhouettes from corsets and bustles, collapsing the structure, adding a softness with shapes and seaming that accentuate the female form.
A lot of it's how I think you want to wear clothes and how you emotionally feel in them. So I came at it very much for that. So the jackets are much sort of smaller on top, and then these sort of billowy pants, much sort of more generous and more kind of effortless.
The collection once again reaffirmed the brand's focus on sustainability, as 78% of cotton used is organic. The Lilo flip-flops are created with 50% recycled materials, while the Daisy clog sandal, made from gold stud hardware and wood, is vegan and cruelty-free.
Now, Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan says remittances from overseas Pakistanis have risen to $2.3 billion in September. In a tweet, Khan said this amounts to a 31% increase year on year. The Prime Minister said compared to August 2020, the amount is 9% higher. Khan added this marks the 4th consecutive month that remittances have remained above $2 billion. Earlier, Asian Development Bank said Pakistan's economy may grow at a pace of 2% in the current fiscal year. It said economic sentiment improved with the resumption of structural reform in the country. Now, China and Cambodia have signed a free trade agreement to promote bilateral economic ties. In a statement, the Chinese Commerce Ministry said under the agreement, both countries will offer tariff cuts on each other's products. It said the agreement covers a wide range of sectors, including trade, tourism and agriculture. China State Councillor Wang Yi and Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen attended the signing ceremony. Wang said mutually beneficial cooperation between Beijing and Cambodia maintains a great momentum. The agreement marks Cambodia's first free trade agreement with any foreign country. Now in the National Basketball Association finals, the Los Angeles Lakers beat Miami Heat by 106 to 93 points to capture a record-tying 17th NBA championship. The Lakers sealed the best-of-7 title series 4-2 thanks to a triple-double by MVP LeBron James. James hooped 28 points, 14 rebounds and 10 assists, while spearheading a defensive that doused the Heat's offense. Speaking after the game, the NBA All-Star called for racial justice and an end to police brutality against black Americans. The victory has tied the Lakers with the Boston Celtics for most NBA championships. Well, in football, England have come from 1 goal behind to beat Belgium 2-1 in the Nations League. Mason Mount scored a deflected winner, helping England beat the top-ranked Belgium. Romelu Lukaku netted a penalty in the 16th minute as Belgium dominated the first half at Wembley. Marcus Rashford equalised for England just after the break before Mount sealed it for England in the second half. In another fixture, Wales remained unbeaten in the competition after they were held to a goalless draw against the Republic of Ireland. Wales remain top of Group B4 with a trip to Bulgaria to come on Wednesday. South Korea's Kim Se-young has surged to her first major title with a victory at the Women's PGA Championship in Pennsylvania. The world number 7 began with a 3-shot lead and posted 7 birdies to finish at 14 under. Kim had 10 wins entering the tournament, but without a major championship, 7-time major winner Indy Park's bogey-free 65 ensured second place. Britain's Charlie Hull posted a second successive round of 69 and shared 7th at 1 under. And now let's have a look at the weather updates across the globe. Well, that is all for now. For the latest update, you can follow us on social media at indus.news. Take care.